Good morning and welcome to Creative Marketing TV. My name is Susan Joy Schlief. I'm the founder and host of Creative Marketing TV. And I'm happy to have you watching the show, whether you're here live or watching the replay. I have a very special guest today. Eileen Roth is here to talk about two things. First of all, how she managed to get on both the Today Show and Oprah. And she's also going to share some organizing tips with us. And there's a connection between those two, as you'll find out in a moment. So let me get my webcam opened up here and invite Eileen to unmute her microphone, and we'll start rolling. Welcome, Eileen.
Hi, Susan. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How about you? So, Eileen, I know you're here to talk to us about getting organized and also how that tied into getting some publicity that I know our audience will be glad to hear about. So tell us how did you become an organizer? What's your background that led you there?
Well, actually, I graduated college with a degree in teaching English, and I thought I'd teach middle school. But I couldn't seem to find a job because I wanted one that would allow me to be close to home so I could still be home at 3 o'clock when my kids got out of school. And it seemed like the only jobs that were available when I graduated were all in the main city, which would have been an hour drive for me. I relied on what I had been doing, which was really, I'd been what was called a secretary in those days, or administrative assistant. And I got jobs doing that. And then I was an association administrator and an office manager. And as it turned out, I got laid off twice, 8 months apart from association management firms. And I said, wait a minute, I don't know if I still want to work for the association managements. I love associations, but I was a little skittish about trying to find a job in that field again. Just learned as there was a brand new profession called professional organizers. And I thought, this is what I do. I mean, I'm getting everyone organized. At some points, I had 3 different VPs I worked for, office manager, so I organized things. And my dad was, the old-fashioned type of dad. Women don't have to work; they just need to get married and have a family. And he said, on top of that, you haven't got a clue about running a business. You know nothing about running a business. What do you think you're doing? And I said, I don't know, Dad, but I'm off work. I don't have a job, so I have nothing to lose by trying. And I literally tried, and I went out to a neighbor, and I said, I want to, see if I can do this thing. And she said, well, go ahead if you want to. So I organized her pantry to see if I liked it, and I did. Now, my dad had taught me to be organized, and I said, Dad, how long have I been organizing? And he said, since you were 5.
Wow.
I looked at him. I said, 5. We always made you put things away. And we were having a dinner party, and you didn't know any of the guests. They were all business people. So as they were sitting around the table, you watched your mother in the daytime, and then you came down at 7 o'clock to say goodnight and go to bed. And of course, as I came down, it was just a sea of strange faces to me. I didn't know a soul. Mm-hmm. So I just looked around, and I saw the chocolate candy dish. And I think all the guests saw where I was walking too. And you're probably thinking the same thing they were. I'm going to go stuff my face with chocolate candy. But you know what? It's not what I did. I went over to the dish. I picked up the entire dish, and I put it wherever my mother had put it at 3 in the afternoon.
Because that's where it belonged, right?
Yep, that was as far as I was concerned. That's where she put it. Somebody moved it. I put it back. And that's why I named my company Everything Is Place, because that was what my parents taught me my entire life.
Interesting. So you had organizing in your blood, maybe.
No, I think I learned it is the point.
Yes.
If I took out a toy, I had to put it away.
Yeah.
So my parents always taught me that. My father was a salesman. He had a lot of products selling restaurant and hospital supplies. So he knew they did keep everything organized, or he wouldn't be able to find things when he was with a client. And I think maybe that business gave him the fact that he taught us, to keep things neat.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that was more how everybody expected things to be back then too. Whether you really lived up to it or not, that was the goal, the expectation, right? But it's funny, I'll just tell you briefly, I had the opposite reaction because my parents always made us put things away too, but I kind of trace my getting unorganized back to when I was 6, I think.
Wow.
I don't know if you remember the weekly readers. Did you get weekly readers in school?
Yes.
I loved my weekly readers my first year of school. I saved every one of them in my bottom dresser drawer. And during the summer, then my mother decided it was time for us to clean our room. She dumped out my drawer and made me throw them all away. So that was when I became a clutterer, I think, a pack rat. But anyway, you call yourself the organizing tour guide, right? That's a clever phrase, but tell us what that means. What exactly do you do for people?
Well, some people might say that, I might coach people to get them organized, but I feel like I'm more of a consultant than a coach. And so I came up with the name of Organizing Tour Guide because what I'm doing is really giving you a tour of different things and how you can get them better organized. And so when I started organizing, I thought, what's something kind of clever for a name that I could use? And it's really going when you take a tour, you go from stop to stop to stop. So for instance, when I'm organizing an office, we go from stop to stop to stop. We go from your desk to your credenza, to your hutch, to your bookcase. And so we're doing different things. And I adopted that name too, so that when I start my online courses, which I'm working on now, and I'm working on an office organization course, as we're talking, so that I can start doing online things and not just conference speeches, so that people can find out how they can get better organized. When I first began my business, there was an executive named Glenn who hired me, and he actually was my first layoff. He was the president of the company, and so when he got a new job, he was a vice president, and he hired me and said, okay, I've seen what you can do in our office, running the office and keeping everything going, so I'm not even giving the association files to my staff. They are coming in from out of state, and as soon as they get here, I want you to just take the boxes, get it all organized, and I don't want to see it till you're ready. So, of course, I got it done as fast as I could, and he sent me a testimonial letter that's up on my website that says 45 days after I had organized their files, everyone on the staff was happy about what I had done. And, of course, they didn't have to do it. And, they only saw it after it was organized, not when it first came in and all these boxes and files that I looked at and go, how did these people find anything? So, and I do speak now on all aspects of organizing. I used to do homes until 2000 when I wrote the book. In fact, you won't believe it, but I moved from Chicago to Arizona, getting divorced and moving one child to ASU. Well, she already was kind of at ASU. She'd spent a year there, but I had to change things because I was not going to be a resident of Arizona. But the other one couldn't go to the same school, heaven forbid. So I had to get her into the University of Arizona in Tucson. And all the while, the Dummies people are not like a regular book publisher. Well, I haven't worked for anybody else, but most of the time I hear people, oh, I've got a year and a half to write a book. No, I had about 6 months to write and then 3 months to edit. If we had that long, I can't remember how long editing was. But it was like every other month, this much is due. They stayed on top of you, and you had to have this material in because they were already looking at it and, making any changes or adjustments as we went along.
So you had a contract with them about when the book had to be finished. So
no, we had a contract who's like, you need to turn this in every 2 months.
Right. So,
and I said, well, I'm moving. And one of the things that happened when I was moving is I said, I just got in this apartment that I'm, renting for the first year till I learn my way around Arizona and Scottsdale. I can't do a thing. I'm like walled in by boxes piled to the ceiling. And I said, look, I have to take a week off. And they said, well, that's on your dime, your time. So you can take a week off. We recommend you take about 2 days because you need to get back to work. And I said, well, whatever it takes to get all these boxes done, my thinking's not there. It's clouded because I literally felt physically and mentally walled in. And so I took the time off, but I stayed on track.
Good for you. So I was curious too. I know it's pretty impressive to be asked to write a Dummies book. How did you manage that?
Well, actually, I didn't have to worry about it because an agent called me. And I actually turned her down because I had just started writing my own book. And she said, no, you don't understand. Your book will be off the bookshelves in a couple of years. Dummies books will be on the bookshelves, in the stores forever.
Yep.
And so, yeah, it's been a long time. I actually wrote it in 2000, so it's been out there for quite some time. And like me, it covers all the areas. It covers the home, the office, and time management. Mm-hmm. And Dummies books are interesting because they have a rule that every single paragraph has to have a tip in it. You have to have an actionable item. So it's a really, it says For Dummies on their title because they start out with computer books and for dummies and really explaining things. But on the bottom of the book, they had added it when they went into other areas and hired other people and went outside of just doing computer things. And they hire an expert for each of their books. They put on the bottom a reference for the rest of us. So if you just want to know something, what's nice about a Dummies book is you just open it and the ideas right there.
Yeah, and they have such a good reputation that, I didn't know that rule about including a tip in every paragraph, but it makes sense because they are books that are chock full of information, and it's going to be organized well. So,
oh yeah, every book is exactly 384 pages.
Wow, I didn't know that. Yeah, so that's a great credential for you to have in addition to your publicity things. So.
Yeah, I got a whole chapter I couldn't even include because we just got past the pages.
Yeah. Well, that can go in your book then, right? So, Eileen, let's get to the big topic we've been teasing people with all week. How did you manage to get on both the Today Show and the Oprah Show?
Well, they were actually both the same press release. So one of my early jobs was working for a marketing firm. And I organized the CEO and he said, I love what you did for me. I've got a couple of, major staff people that need you too. He says, but that's going to get really expensive if you do everybody in the office. So how about we do a little bit of trade? And I said, okay. So for trade, basically, he got me some PR. In fact, he got me articles in the Chicago Tribune and the Chicago Sun-Times and some local TV shows. And when I was done working with him, I started thinking, I really kind of understand how to write a press release now. I've learned a lot from him. And so I'm going to try and do it. And I also knew there was a book. Now, this is a book you cannot check out of the library. It's in the reference section. But so you ask the library where the reference section is and if they have a reference librarian, you talk to her. But there's something called Bacon's Media Radio and TV Directory. And the Bacon's book lists across the nation, all the newspapers or all the radio and TV in that one. I'm not sure if the newspapers was in a separate book, and I'm not sure if today it's separate or not. But I went and was looking for everything I could be on, and so I believe I took an electric typewriter there because they didn't have computers in those days. But nowadays, you can take your laptop to the library because you can't check this book out. So I just wrote down everywhere I wanted to be, and I saw a listing. I was living in Chicago then, so I saw a listing for Oprah, and that was obvious because it was in Chicago. The Today Show, and the Today Show listing was not New York. It actually said there was a Chicago office. New York was probably in there too, and I think I sent the press release to both. But so I thought, okay, well now I've got this, but just telling them I have these 6 principles to organize your desk. It might not be enough to catch their attention. I think it's newsworthy, but I don't know if they do. Or anybody else I was sending it to, the radio stations, everyone. So I thought, what do I do for a tie-in? And the reference librarian, I believe, is the one who told me about Chase's calendar of events. And in fact, I have a very old copy here. So I know it's going to be backwards.
Okay.
But no, this is Chase's. I'll put it back here a little bit just because it's a pretty big book. And this is 1997. So the reason I have this is because when they had a library book sale, they had to buy the next year. They always have to buy the next year. So I happened to find it one year. So I actually get to own one of them. But it's updated and people are sending new things in, all the time. And believe it or not, you can make your own day. You can do this. So I found different days in there. There's all kinds of different days that are unique in the sense of there's proposal day. In fact, it's in there twice. There's 2 different times, I think, a spring and a fall one. And this is the day you should go make a proposal if you want to be the one proposing. And there's all kinds of things. So I found National Clean Off Your Desk Day. in there. And I said, okay, well, this would be good because I'm talking about cleaning off your desk. And it happens to be the second Monday every year in January. So I sent the press release out, and I was lucky that some people called me. I was on WGN on the radio station, and I came home one day, and my husband said, there's a voicemail from the Today Show on your phone. And I said, oh my gosh. So I played it twice, I think. And he just said, you know, I'd like to call and ask you some questions. And that's what I actually thought. This is Chicago office, you know, he's not New York. He just wants to just, you know, talk to me about, you know, maybe explain a little deeper what my principles were. So I had a nice casual conversation with the guy because I thought he was just gathering information, taking notes like a journalist. And at the end, he goes, well, I've already talked to New York. I just wanted to make sure you had a personality to be on air. We've already set this up. We're flying you out Sunday night. We'll have you on the show Monday morning for National Clean Off Your Desk Day.
Wow.
Now, I want you to know that that same press release and not another one went to Oprah. And she didn't call me for 3 or 4 months. But based on their, and she called me about organizing the home. They took a pack rat out of their audience. And they actually had Dr. Laura on stage. So I was in somebody's house getting it organized while Dr. Laura was telling people why people couldn't let go of things. So she had lots of people on the show, like somebody who had like 6 or 8 phones at the time, because we had these big, huge cell phones at the time. So you didn't really carry them around too far.
Well, that's great. I know you have a story to tell about how National Clean Off Your Desk Day got started too, right? Can you tell us that quickly?
Yeah, well, if you look at Chase's book, they explain where the day came from and who created it and when. And what's interesting is Mr. Chase's daughter created this day for him. She figured if he's going to publish this book with all of these crazy days, and, you know, there's days like, you know, hug your partner day, you know, all kinds of things, you know, compliment day. So she figured he needed a day to clean off his desk. So she created the day so he would have to publish it, and he would have to spend 1 day a year just cleaning off his desk. And she thought January with New Year's resolutions would be a good time for him to get organized. So this is actually Mr. Chase's day coming back on him.
Yeah, that's great. So, and you already just told us how you used that day then to get you on the Today Show. And a little bit different for Oprah, it sounds like, but that's great that you were able to get that publicity. Any tips you can suggest to our users about how they might get that kind of publicity without necessarily hiring a PR person to help?
They can do the same thing. You can do one or two things. One is that you could create your own day if you wanted. Some people pick a day and they say it's the second Monday. Some people say it's this day, it's January 9th or whatever the day is.
Right.
So you can decide what you want and think of something that might make some sense that could be catchy that people would like about what your business is about. So that's one way to do it. But without having to go that far for your first time sending out press releases using a tie-in of what I call special days, you might want to just look at what's available. And you could go to the library and make a list, or you could buy Chase's, which on Amazon is like $90. And you have to buy it every year in the sense if you want to keep up. But the easiest way is to go right to Susan because Susan's actually totally coincidence. I didn't even know she's doing this. She just started this. She's putting out what's called her holiday calendar. And I'm going to just show this real quick. You can't obviously read it, but.
Oh, you printed it out. You have it upside down, Eileen.
Oh, good. That's, you know, trying to show something on screen. So you've got the calendar that she puts out, and it is got all these huge days on it. So just going to read you a couple real quick. Well, today is International Holocaust Remembrance Day. So there's regular holidays on there like today. January, Chase's book actually puts out months too, and so do some other people. This is hot tea month, which I just got over the flu. I drank a lot of tea this month, so I didn't even know it was hot tea month. And I missed January 17th, which is Ditch Your New Year's Resolutions Day, which would have been a good day for me to tell people, okay, I know why you need to ditch them. It's also National Hobby Month and National Soup Month. But the 24th is
National Oatmeal Month, too, but I ran out of squares to put that on there.
Yeah, and this Monday is National Puzzle Day. Here's one you could use. Most of you can think of something that would be kind of a puzzle in your business. What's a problem? Think about that. Use a picture of a puzzle piece and say, this is the piece of the puzzle you're missing. And whatever your business is, you can put something out. And that is on the 29th.
Yep, this coming Monday.
Which is Monday.
Yep. Yes, and thank you for mentioning the calendar, Eileen. It's great for getting you publicity like you did, but you can also just use it in your daily social media posts, just to put a quick graphic together related to the holiday and add a message about your business. So I love using it, and that's why I got started doing these calendars again. And I will show you a link at the end for our audience where they can get those calendars for free. They come out every month. And I know Eileen has a free offer for you as well, too. So be sure you stay till the end of the show. Eileen, I think we need to move on to your tips that you wanted to share with us. This is, not only did we have National Clean Off Your Desk Day, but the whole month is Get Organized Month, right? So what kind of tips do you have to share with our users to help them get organized for the new year?
Well, I really wanted to talk about something that I think is important. Like I was teasing about losing your New Year's resolution. I think a lot of people do. And a lot of people make New Year's resolutions and by 3 days later, it's gone, let alone, a week, or this is the end of January and it's missing. And I want you to realize it's not your fault. And one of the reasons for that is really the fact that you go to a New Year's Eve party and somebody says, what's your resolution? And maybe you heard somebody else say something like, I'm going to lose weight this year, I'm going to stop smoking, which are the two typical ones. Or I'm going to get organized, which is another very high resolution. And it doesn't get done because you didn't set it with any type of intention. That's the first reason. So if you really planned on doing this, like you decide, I am going to get organized this year, I'm going to get my office organized so I can be more productive, and you set it before New Year's Eve, and so you actually said, I'm going to do it, you're in much better shape than everybody who just blurted something out at a New Year's Eve party because everybody said, oh, what'd you make for New Year's resolution this year? What'd you make? And everybody's just going around just throwing out ideas. Second reason is, believe it or not, this might be the wrong season for you. Totally wrong. So now there's two ways to look at the season. In most parts of the country, outside here in Scottsdale, where it's 70 degrees today, it's cold. It's snow. Some people got really blasted this year. And on the flip side of that, I have one friend, and this is a true story, when I was living in Chicago, and I don't even know if Stan's still doing this business, but Stan used to sell greeting cards. And so in November, December, that was a very big promotion, obviously. They sell not just single cards, like just so many birthday cards he's got to sell to stores, but they're selling boxes of cards. And so they have a much bigger promotion during the holidays. So when it comes to January, he's just finished a major promotion. And Valentine's Day is already out the door, too. So he almost can relax because his two major promotions of the year, two of the biggest, Valentine's Day and the December holidays for Christmas and Hanukkah, and the other December holidays, they're done. So this is when he actually does find it good to be cold inside on a nice snowy day and to actually plan what he's doing. I know when I was living in Chicago, I found winter to be very gloomy, and it was not a time that I could set goals. And I didn't care about January 1st or not, or calendar year. It wasn't any good for me. So it's the wrong season for me and for many other people who just feel like gloom and cold and I can't think. Then you might want to try setting your goals in two other times. One would be spring, where birds are singing, things are blooming. When the earth starts coming alive again and you feel great and you've just shed all those clothes, sometimes you can shed your mental thinking too. And now when you're feeling more uplifted, now's the time for you to set your goals. And almost 180 degrees, some people like coming out of summer. So you're coming out of the heat, especially here in Arizona. It's 100 degrees till October. I mean, it was still 100 in October this year. So my fall is like November. And for me, November, December can sometimes slow down. People are so busy with the holidays, they don't want to get organized during that time. So it's a better time to get organized during that season where I've shed the heat and I'm feeling cool and crisp So I'm feeling cooler, but it's not winter. I'm not freezing, and so I'm not freezing up my thinking. Third reason you might want to set goals then. And so if your New Year's resolutions aren't working, think about if it's the wrong season or it's just because your intentions weren't there. Either way, you are still going to be working on goals and projects. So I just want to give you a few tips on how you can do that.
Yeah, and we have just a few minutes left, Eileen, so just make tips as quickly as you can.
Time goes so fast. So real quickly, just take your goals. You always want to chunk those down, and then you want to take those chunks and break them even smaller pieces. You don't eat a pie all at once. You take like one slice of pie and eat it. Do the same thing with any project or goal you're working on. And then it's only when you've got it down to smaller pieces that you can actually handle and figure out how much time something's going to take is can it get on your to-do list. And so once it gets on your to-do list, now is the time that you need to get your to-do list more organized. And that's my free gift to you, is some ideas that you can do to make your to-do list better than it is now.
And let me bring that up on the screen while you continue talking about it.
So I put 10 ideas on there, starting with, your goals and working into a master lesson thing. And you can pick it up at this link. So it just says to-do list checklist. So I like to put that in the link so you know what you are clicking on and why. That's another one of my little tricks. So when you click right on this bit.ly link, it takes you right out to sign up to get the checklist, and it will be emailed to you.
And, we will put that link in the chat, in the comments underneath the video, the recording as well. So if you don't want to try and write that all down, you can click on it later in the comments.
Thanks, Susan. That's great.
So what else, Eileen? Once they get there.
Do I still have some more time, or did you talk about your holiday calendar?
Another minute. We can take another minute or so if you want to finish up your tips.
Okay. So I kind of rushed through that, but I really want to talk about one important part of that, and that is estimating the time that something takes. Most people underestimate the time something's going to take, especially something major. So when you add things to your to-do list, you want to think about doing 1.5 times that amount. So if you think something's going to take you 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. So 1.5 times the amount of time you think something's going to take for you to do. To achieve it. And if you end up with free time, great. Take a little longer break.
That's a good lesson for me, because I am always underestimating how long things are going to take. Okay, well, we are at the end of the show, and I see we did have some guests. I'm sorry, I'm not going to have time to bring your questions up right now, but I will ask Eileen to go in and respond to the comments if we have questions. And I do also want to bring up the link where you can get the free monthly holiday marketing calendar if anyone is interested in that. Eileen, any last minute tip that you want to share or comment that you want to share as we wrap up here?
Don't let this go to waste. Seriously, take the idea of the holiday calendar, use it do something for Monday. Today's Saturday. If you're listening to this live, and if you catch the replay today. And if not, get a hold of the book and start, getting some information out about your business.
Yeah.
And if you need to get organized, I'd be happy to help you out with that.
Great.
You can check out my website at everythingthat'splace.net.
Great. Thank you, Eileen. And yes, I concur about using the holidays for your marketing. If you download my calendar, it has the two resources on the bottom that I use, websites that have lots more information besides what I could fit on the calendar. So you don't even need to go buy the book. That has even more, I'm sure, but you can get a lot just from the online free sources. All right, well, thank you so much, Eileen. I've gotten some great ideas that I'm going to be using to get my getting organized plans in place here for the year. And I know you and I are going to talk further about that as well. So thank you
so much for having me, and I will reply to any of the comments that have shown up that we missed on the chat today.
Great. Thank you. And I will put those links in the chat, in the comments as well, so you can download these free resources. Thank you so much for watching Creative Marketing TV. The show runs every other week, and I look forward to seeing you on a future episode.